Boom. Let's get it. How we doing, family? How we doing?
What's up, guys?
Oh, damn. Hey, in on us further, too. Yeah, sweet. What up, y'all? What up,
Massive heat wave up here.
Dude, it is so hot down here.
I had a bunch of students. Dude, I'm pretty sure it's hotter in Pennsylvania than it is in Miami.
Yeah, it's like historic. It's more supposed to feels like supposed to be like 110 tomorrow.
So holy shit. Damn,
yeah.
I'm home tomorrow too.
It's brutal here too. With humidity, it's got to be 100.
Damn. Okay, it's about to rain on Thursday, Friday though. Yeah.
Oh my god. Tomorrow?
Yeah. You want to link up? You want to have that pizza we used to have back in the day?
Dude, there's one spot up here named the same thing. I don't know if it's affiliated, but
all right, that could work. Gina Goat in the building? No, Gina or Joan Goat. Joan Goat in the building here.
Joan Goat.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to the game last night, Miles?
Dude, that sucked. Yeah, dude. I mean, my guy TJ McConnell was getting money though.
I wanted Indy to win so badly, and then once Halliburton got hurt.
I know, dude.
Oh, did he get hurt last night? I didn't realize that.
He busted his Achilles, yeah.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
You want to know? It is just a battle to get any game on these days. There's like 87 different streaming services.
Oh, just YouTube TV. I feel like with YouTube TV, I've never not been able to watch like a sporting event that I needed to watch.
Yeah, well, I don't have that. So
what do you have?
Nothing.
Okay, well then you can't expect to be able to watch TV.
No, why would I ever need to watch TV when it wasn't the NBA Finals? No. But yeah, typically what I do, that. So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll just loop free trials, like wherever I need to, basically.
Once an arbitrage seller, always an arbitrage seller, I guess, right?
Right? Yeah, shit. Yeah, looping. Yeah, but I don't know, dude. It's like back in the day, it was so easy with TV. Now, like, yeah, there's like 87 different options. I saw people like talking about that on Twitter a while ago, and I had no idea what they're talking about, but now I do completely. You get everything sports. When is WAMP being released? There's no set date for it, Michael, but our goal is within a month. But unfortunately, just software, like, it's really tough to have timelines like that just because it's really hard to estimate that stuff and everything. Free trials.
We got VSCG, too many ads during the game. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. They were serving you too many ads. Got you. Okay.
Streaming ruined it. Yeah, pretty much.
Nick, Corey Toyota game. What up, Nick?
Yeah, 2006 with 288,000 miles.
That's what you drive for?
You need it. Yep. It's just inconvenient at that point.
Oh, no, drives like an absolute dream.
Yeah.
Absolute dream.
Yeah, no, you can't. Come on.
We'll not get rid of that thing until the wheels fall off, and when they do, I'm gonna get another one.
Nice.
Probably just like a newer one.
Boom.
Toyota Camry body.
No, Forerunner.
Okay. I've driven one.
Oh, those are bred though, low key. Aren't they like 70 to 60K?
Well, if you were to get one like brand new off the lot, yeah, probably. Yeah. But I'd get when this one bites the dust, I might get like a 2018 or like something like that.
Yeah, those things are lit though.
Oh, okay.
They'll go forever. I mean, dude, mine at this point should go. I mean, I got the oil change today. Should go like 300,000 or more.
Are you hammering down the mortgage still, Corey?
Yeah.
That's your goal. Cool. Dude, I was just talking to my inner circle guys, like kind of like basically coaching guys that want more access pretty much. Like we were talking about like compound interest and shit for like 30 minutes, which was a lot of fun today.
Yeah. Those topics are fun to touch on.
Yeah. Anyone watching this, go play with an early retirement calculator. It'll make it a lot easier to wake up in the morning every day and grind when you have a really good set goal in mind that provides a lot of freedom. And that could just be growing your income to leave your job too. There's nothing, you know what I mean? Like that's the first one with that, you know?
Yep.
Hi, Miles Garrett. Corey's Warner not joining. Yeah, Warner's out of town today, so he's not going to be joining us.
Adrian said, "What car are we talking about?" 300. Oh, so that's I have a Toyota 4Runner. Not 300. That's not how much it costs. I have 300,000 miles. very, very clear distinction.
$100,000 4Runner. That'd be the most.
That must. Yeah, I don't know what you would have to put on that thing to make it worth 300.
Brabus 4-wheeler.
Have to make it out of gold.
Also, too, just a quick announcement, guys. So we had done over the weekend a price increase on the SellerAmp Getting Serious plans. So not for like the price didn't change if you're an existing SellerAmp subscriber, but the price of upgrading did change, but we delayed it. So if you want to save on upgrading to the Getting Serious plan in SellerAmp, either the monthly or the annual plan, now's the time to do it. It expires tonight. So make sure you get that in. I dropped a link in chat and description on actually doing that. So like I said, if you're an existing SellerAmp user, the price will not be increasing. But if you're on the getting started plan and want to get on the getting serious, or if you're on the getting serious monthly plan and want to get on the getting serious annual plan, you can save money doing that now. And the reason to get on the getting serious plan is because it gives you unlimited scans, added seats to your account, and just the best value relative to money. So basically you can save about 10% if you want to get on the annual plan prior to tonight, basically when it goes up right there. Yeah. So if you're on the monthly, getting on the annual will save you some bread. What's up, Armand? Cool.
Somebody asked, so Corey, you've got a head of operations who does forecasting and preparing replenishing orders. Does that mean your head of operations has access to your seller account? And if not, how do they manage it? So yeah, they do. So Criselda, good question. Yeah, Criselda has access just as a secondary user, right? So I think most people know, or maybe they don't. You can go into Seller Central, top right, settings, user permissions, and then you can just add a secondary user and just give them the permission they need. So for example, Criselda has access only to like certain whatever setting she needs to do her job, right? What you never ever want to do is give somebody your actual Seller Central password, or even through LastPass or anything. That's worst thing you could possibly do. I have heard of some people doing that, and I guess they just don't know that user permissions are a thing, because that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. Even just a quick PSA going along with that. Anytime you're making any like fundamental changes to your account, whether that be changing your bank account, whether it be changing your address, your email, your phone number, you just want to call seller support and just let them know, right?
Yep.
I've heard horror stories of someone just simply trying to change their bank account gets shut down. Obviously, you'll get it back, but it's just an added headache. So give them a call, let them know that you are making those changes, and it'll make that more efficient.
That's a really good point. So yeah, anytime, like for example, anytime if you're going to change your deposit method, like if you're going to update your bank account, or even like the credit card that you're using as your default charge method, always just open a case first and just tell Amazon, hey, I'm updating my charge card on file, or I'm changing my bank account, or I'm updating my tax status. Whatever you're changing, tell them first. And that way you just have a record, so that if for some reason they do, not shut you down, but like, pause your account for a day or two because of suspicious activity, they see why, and it's much easier to resolve. And then the follow-up, they said, thanks for explaining. It's completely safe because you can. So yes, you can take away user permission. So that's why you want to give an employee access via user permissions, is because if you fire them, or if something happens, you can simply just go in there and remove their access very easily.
Marco says, every time y'all go live, I forget my questions. No problem, family. We gonna be here. You know what I'm saying, family, right? We got how many podcast episodes we got, Garrett? We got let's see.
You're still lacking. You stay lacking.
What are you guys up to? Yeah, what are you guys up to? How many have y'all published?
We've taken a couple months off though.
I thought y'all had a couple hundred.
No, we have 201. Shit. Okay.
That's what I thought. Yeah, at least.
All right, damn, dude, these get views too. Hell yeah. Yeah, y'all check out the Buy Box Bandits podcast too. We got 190 episodes on all podcast platforms. Cool. All right.
I still probably my most worn t-shirt. My longest.
Yeah.
The Buy Box Bandits.
Danny came in so clutch with the quality of those. Like I've worn it hundreds of times, washed it hundreds of times, and
bro, the hoodie's fire, man. Yeah, the hoodie's.
You're the only one left in circulation. That thing has a hell of a resale value too. I heard.
That's facts too.
Honestly, you could probably put that on eBay or like somewhere. And somebody buy it.
Put it on like Goat Poshmark list of like 2K.
Gina Goat says, "Hey Miles, yes, got in SellerAmp this past Saturday with the Getting Serious plan. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and that if you plan on doing 1,000 scans a month, or already are doing 1,000 scans a month, the best value is going to be the Getting Serious annual plan, and you have till tonight to get that in on discounted rate." Good question for Corey here from Anton W Club Penguin, or Ask profile picture too, as well. Should you go with brands or distributors when starting?
Yeah, so when starting out, the way I teach it these days is to go for brands first, because when you go for brands first, you can also find distributors in the process. And the easiest way to do that is when you're calling brands. If the brand shuts you down, or they said, no, we don't want to work with you, then you just pivot to asking them who their distributors are. And a lot of times they'll just tell you, right? Or when you find a brand that you want to sell, you can literally call the brand, and instead of asking the brand for a wholesale account, you just ask the brand right off the bat who their distributor is. And a lot of times they won't even they won't ask you further questions. They'll be like, oh, that's so-and-so distributor, in North Carolina. And they'll just give you that information, and then you just go hit up the distributor. So that's the easiest way by far.
Once you spend enough money with some of those distribution companies, a lot of times they'll forward you on to the brand, right? And so, I mean, so a lot of brands are kind of molded these days. We kind of have to earn your stripes, and I've seen it to be the case where if you spend a certain amount of money with some of those distribution companies, they'll force you into the brand, which obviously was your initial intention to begin with.
That's such a good point, and that's more of a I wouldn't even call it an advanced tactic. It's more of just like you said, once you start doing more business with a distributor, distributors will want to connect you to the brand. So that way the distributor's still in the mix. Like the distributor's still making a margin, but usually what the distributor is doing at that point is once you start buying so much of a certain brand, the distributor will still be the one placing your orders with the brand, but the distributor will literally drop ship from the brand to you. Right. And so now you have a relationship with the brand and with the distributor. And that's the best way by far.
My supplier continues using my prep center address as the billing address on my invoice. I've asked them for a few times to correct this to the billing address shown on my credit card.
That's an interesting one, man. That's a very interesting one here. Yeah.
So you want to make sure your invoice matches your business address in Seller Central, which is going to be whatever address your LLC is registered to. So if your supplier you just have to call them up and explain, say, listen, for our record keeping purposes, for our documentation, you have included the incorrect billing address. Can you just reissue the invoice and just update the billing address? That shouldn't be an issue. That should be very simple for them to do. And sometimes you might have to ask them 4 or 5 times, but they should do that.
That's surprising. Yeah, I bet you they just don't know what they're like. I bet you the communication.
They just and a lot of times distributors are unorganized, especially on the admin side. You just have to ask a couple times. They'll do it. They should do it. No problem.
Yeah. Oh, good question here from Gregory. What's up, Gregory? Buy box question. At any given time, shoppers across the country may see different options in the buy box. How does Keepa show the seller in the buy box? Fire question. Absolutely fire question. I assume it's who looks at that product with Keepa, right?
It's just like an aggregation.
I would assume it's just I would assume, yeah. Or it could be, who knows? Like you could get super in the weeds on this. And Gregory's one of our community members. He asks really good questions. Yeah. Gregory, if I had to guess, it's probably the seller that maybe is in like the most regional buy boxes at that given time. Like who knows? It's kind of impossible to tell. Yeah,
but even so, like, I mean, you're on the right thought process, but to a certain point, it doesn't make sense to get that granular, get that micro, right? Whether we're talking 5% someone's getting of the buy box compared to 10, compared to 15. I mean, we're not talking about very drastic differences because remember, when we're initially trying to qualify a product, all we're really trying to do is make some general macro qualifications in terms of whether it's a good buy or not. Once you start to reorder and place secondary, third orders, then you can really get in the weeds and actually use your business data to say, okay, I need to order 500 as opposed to 200. Right? But those first couple orders, you're really just trying to feel out the market, understand how many you could potentially sell per month, and use that to iterate your orders moving forward. But like off the bat, like whether you're going to try and place an order for 50 or 55 or 20 compared to the percentages perspective in the buy box, it's a moot point at a certain point.
Oh, so here we go. So Keepa, they gauge it based on their servers, which are in the central US, according to ChatGPT.
Interesting. That's crazy that ChatGPT even knows that. And also, quick shout out to Gregory. So he asked that question, and that is a super nuanced question, but he's been doing a really good job of doing brand direct outreach. He's in our community. In fact, my YouTube video from yesterday. So guys, if you haven't watched that yet, go watch it. The title is "Watch Me Roast Beginner Cold Calls." It was a 30-minute video of me giving Gregory feedback on one of his brand cold calls. So he's like in the mix. He's doing the thing. So go check that out because I know he said that was helpful for him. And I think it'd help a lot of you guys too who are doing that outreach. VSCG said, do a dog reveal.
More on the acronyms. A bad storefront looks like when storefront stalking is almost always brands that you don't recognize. in that nothing's necessarily a bad storefront unless someone's losing money, which like they're not trying to lose money, and it's going to be really tough to tell if they are. It's simply just going to be a bunch of listings where the price is going down a bunch, right? And everything. But typically I'd say it's brands you don't recognize. Yeah, is going to be the playbook there. So brands you don't recognize. Yeah. Yep. Now need box them, keep Rolo, then let's go. Yeah. Get on it, Gina LeBron. Get on it. IRL meetings common, and should I get a suit for it? Ooh, okay. I'm sure it very much depends on where you live. Very much.
Suits are overrated though.
I wouldn't say a suit. I'd say just like a little polo shirt and some pants. Like
a branded polo with your company's name on it will go way farther than a suit, in my opinion.
Yeah, but even then, like don't overthink it, right? Just dress nicely, professionally, and you'll be fine. And I assume you mean in-person meeting with like either a brand or a distributor.
Yeah.
And then if you follow Corey's blueprint, you need the Nikes on foot, right? Fresh pair of Nikes.
Dunks must be Dunks.
Yep.
Black Dunks if possible.
Yeah.
Oh, so
bring George if you can.
Black and white.
Yeah, black and white Dunks.
Okay,
Pandas.
fair.
So if we are constantly looking for discounts and discounting methods, how does this make this a sustainable business? The nice thing is that the discounts don't go away. In that most like sales happen again and again, right? And then coupons don't really go away typically, right there. Anything and everything I try, auto ungate, I'm denied. So Jose, you're not hitting request approval and apply to sell, right? You're just going to the page where it says request approval. You're not actually hitting it. So go plug in a Cuddle Duds listing. Go plug in a Stafford listing, right? Go plug in a 32 degrees probably won't be, but go plug in a Red Heart listing, a Red Wing listing.
This is the longest George has
continuing on.
this.
What's up?
This is the longest that George has like tolerated sitting like this. Normally it lasts like 30, 60 seconds. He's squirming.
Continuing on that last point though, what makes it a sustainable business is the skill, not necessarily the particular product or the particular method that you acquire the product, right? Because the way you acquire the product is going to change, right? You could start out with a retail arbitrage, right? Then you could start buying from online sorts of sites. Then you may migrate and transition completely to a more wholesale approach when you're working with brands and distribution companies, right? But the skill of qualifying products, understanding what makes a good product versus a bad, purchasing those and continuing to iterate on those products, that's the skill, right? And the skill is being accurate with your purchases and continuing to do so and scale that up, right? Whether you're buying a product from Nike Outlet or Dick's Sporting Goods online or Northeast Wholesale Supply, right? That is also always going to change, as does any business, but the skill is what makes it a sustainable business.
Oh, that's
We got some George fans in the chat. Gregory, love George, the perfect dog. You, sir, are correct. Perfect.
Good question from LOS Pros. Miles, you spoke about a blocky chart and the opposite, but I'm going to need an informative answer to understand it because I'm a little slow, to be honest. I saw your video, but want to double check to understand. Yeah, I'll pull up an example here. Yeah, let me pull up an example here. All right, just give me one sec. Let's plug that in right here. All right, so, okay. So if we take a look at this listing here, so boom, let's take a look here. All right, so this right here is a blocky Keepa chart, right? Now this listing has a good sales rank, so you would think it sells quick, but this listing has the same sales rank as every other variation on it, and sales rank doesn't change between variations. The Keepa chart does. So the Keepa chart's the way you tell velocity on listings that have lots of variations, right? So we can see this guy, the offer count is very blocky, so this doesn't really sell. This one sells decent. The offer count's moving a little bit more, right? And then this guy sells really well. The offer count's moving nicely, right? So we want listings like this, and then not like this right there. Yeah, so we want stuff that's nicely flowing, nicely moving right there and everything.
Well, and it's funny that, well, not funny, but it's just an observation, like you saying that, like paying attention to the new offer count, like whether or not it's blocky. That's something that I've been doing this for 8 years, and you taught me that within the last year. Like that's something that I'm always looking at the new offer count. Is it fluctuating? Is the new offer count increasing? But I never really thought to look at that as a measure of, well, how quickly is the listing selling? Because if the new offer count's constantly fluctuating, it means people are constantly rotating in and out of the buy box. People are constantly coming in and out of stock. So that's like you said, it's just a really good sign that the listing is moving and lots of people are getting the action on that listing. It's not just like one or two people dominating.
Yeah, wholesale, it doesn't matter as much because people sell out a lot less in wholesale, So and wholesale, a lot of listings, talk about this with the coaching guys all the time, but wholesale, a lot of listings don't have variations, which makes the seller amp cost or the seller amp monthly sold completely accurate, in that if there's no variations, then the seller amp monthly sold is completely accurate,
Well, in the same token, right? When you're talking about price, oftentimes when it comes to like blocky price charts, from an OA perspective, those are not as enticing, but from a wholesale perspective, it could be mapped, right? Whereas a flat buy box line, when it comes to wholesale or a brand product, just means that the brand is dictating the price point and people are just kind of rotating through. But when you're talking about buying those sorts of products from an online site, a lot of times those are red flags in terms of the brand being on the product or some sort of like couple exclusive sellers that are selling it.
Yeah. If a storefront's max cost says 12, but the seller max cost says 3, what's that about? The buy box price changed in between clicks, or for whatever reason, it's reporting differently, the buy box price. What time will selling prices go up? Yeah. So it's the end of today, guys. So make sure you lock that in. So the end of today, so midnight right there, right? So make sure you guys lock that in right there. And the best value is on the annual plan. Yep. Thanks, Miles. I've had Seller Amp for quite some time now. As you said, it took like 2 days or so before the go ahead with Amazon. Yeah, exactly. So if you're watching, so you haven't yet made your Amazon seller account, it's going to take a couple days for them to verify and get your account situated right there. Right. So that's very, very important too. Y'all, we got this good money Monday energy. Y'all keep the questions coming, family. Keep the questions coming here.
Is it seriously possible to make profit with wholesale when you get charged for shipping pallets to you plus shipping to Amazon? 100%, right? And obviously, like, you're a little skeptic, but you're not necessarily considering the fact that most brands are gonna give you free shipping at certain thresholds. Some companies are gonna just provide free shipping off the bat. Some companies will ship straight to Amazon for you, right? So off the bat, you're going to get that discounted shipping rates just from using Amazon shipping, right? Because a lot of times, right, if it's case packed, you just have the brand or company or supplier, or whatever, just slap those case pack labels on the outside. And Amazon labels for 55 cents as long as that's still accurate, right? So there are a lot of scenarios, and of course it's going to vary based on the brand and the distribution company you're working with, right? The competitive advantage with wholesale is your relationship, right? The rapport you have with your sales rep, and ultimately, and most importantly, the money that you're spending, right? Because every single time you spend more money, you get better prices. Right. So it may be an account issue for you that you not necessarily have seen some of the good or better accounts that, the wholesale space has to offer. So maybe just a volume thing.
Well, Brianna, not sure, but is RA possible without discount methods and sales? So yeah, retail arbitrage.
Pretty much no discount methods.
Yeah.
RA, and outside of like TaxAnt, but the key is that the discounts are just free money, so you should use it.
Well, things like like the Target is like the Circle, like there's certain stores will have, as part of their loyalty program, or, you get their app and you get 10%, or you sign up for the email list and you get 20% on your first order. Like there's certain things you can do, but I mean, I think retail arbitrage is fantastic. There's a lot of products on the shelves that are just discounted so deeply that you can just buy them at their clearance price off the shelf, and it's profitable right when you buy. And then you could use like a 2% cashback credit card to get an extra 2%, and some of these other little things that you can do on the side. But in general, yes, the answer is absolutely yes.
Good question from Brian here. I'm having trouble finding repeat products through OA, eventually do you have to transition to wholesale to find repeatable products? Not necessarily, but wholesale products are harder to find and more replenishable in general. Right. So, for example, Brian, I know someone else had asked about mentoring too. Like, you'd probably be a perfect fit, honestly, for me to put you on game with all that stuff. Someone asked formally about mentoring. So if you want any info on that, it's linked in the description. Right there. How does RA work when you're ungated for almost everything? I assume you mean gated. You just buy something from that brand and get ungated online and then return it right there. Yeah. Some people feel like super strongly about that, honestly. It's obviously, I don't think you owe these retailers anything, but personally, do what you want, obviously. on that, you know, and order cancels aren't even that much of a thing anymore these days either. Like you hear about order cancels so much less than you used to, right?
Yeah, I feel like that is the case. I feel like
Yeah.
people used to complain about it constantly, but I really haven't seen too many.
Nike sites that would carry Nike are used to having shoe releases where they would have to order cancel to stop people from getting all the stock, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that's a high level, you know, observation that I feel like, you know.
High level observation.
You feel me? All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm gonna go get my TJ McConnell on at the YMCA and play some basketball. Right there. If you have
somebody real quick, somebody did ask earlier, like, when do we do these lives? Guys, 5 p.m. every Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern every Monday. Haven't missed a day in almost 2 years. I think coming up on 2 years, every Monday at 5.
Yep. So yeah, guys, check it out. So price of SellerAmp for the Getting Serious upgrades tonight. So if you're on Getting Started, your price will not change unless you want to save money and get the unlimited scans and the added seats. The cost to upgrade will be more after today, so make sure you lock that in. Then if you're currently on Getting Serious, your price will not be changing. But if you want to save the most money, you want to hop on the annual plan, now's the time to do that right there as well. And then definitely take a look. I posted one of my favorite videos in a while, honestly, guys. Take a look at the YouTube video I posted yesterday with my student Bola on how she sold as a mother of two. She sold $70,000 on Amazon in 1 month, just her 4th month, which is some gangster stuff right there. So watch that video with Bola too, as well. It's the second newest video on my channel outside the one talking about the SellerAmp deal that ends tonight. Y'all have a great day. Let's keep up the good work. We got Prime Day coming up in 2 weeks, 4th of July coming up in 10 days or so. Let's keep getting richer, y'all. Keep executing every day, y'all. See y'all later.
See y'all next week.
Be great. Be great. See y'all later.